Hi, this is a short tutorial for the math by Saskatchewan Polytechnic and Federated Cooperatives. Um, in your search engine, type in My SAS Polytech. This will show up, this link, click on it, and enter your username and password. Also, I should mention, if you wish to change your password at any time, this is where you would go to do that. I should also mention to you at this time, before we just log in here, that it's probably not a bad idea to open up a search, a separate search, and follow along. You can pause this at any time. So let's log in. Under where your name would show up, click on the Students tab. And just to the right of Health and Safety, you'll see My Courses. Let's enter there. Should mention that I've got a lot of online courses and it didn't work for me trying to open them up before we got started here. Look for math and make sure it's the right one, SRV 1210, and click on the icon. Again, we have to do a little bit of a search here till I can find the right math. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is change over to view as a student so that we're seeing the exact same thing that you're going to be seeing. Again, you can pause this at any time. Across the top, we're going to see content, resources, assessments, communication, and help. We're going to focus on content for the most part. The assessments can be accessed either here, that's your final exam, or it can be accessed in the content. I should also mention at this time that if you need to contact me, here's my username, David Nunn, and my email address as well as my cell phone number. So let's click on content. Yours will open up to table of contents. There's 4 areas here for you to look at. We'll just have a quick look at them. It's in your best interest to spend a bit of time reading through all of this before you actually start the course. So we'll just have a quick look at course introduction. Just gives you a course description. It says here that there's no instructor. Technically that's correct, as this is called distance learning, meaning that the information is all online for you. I will be your instructor when you come in for your in-class work. I'll let you read through the rest of this. Before we move on, there's these 2 tab, advancement and backup here. There's one at the top of each page and one at the bottom. That's for navigating around through the course. This is the navigation area. Again, I'm going to allow you to just read through that yourself. We'll move on. Communication, there's you can send emails within the course itself. That would be up here under the communication. As well, it's probably in your best interest to give Jason and I your personal email addresses. That way we know that the information is going back and forth. It's been my experience that while you may check your personal emails, you don't often check your online emails. One area that we need to have a quick look at here is student support. The first area here is under technical support. Under the help here, if you have any technical issues at all, there's the toll-free phone number to our technical support staff, or you can send them an email. They're very good at getting back to you as quickly as possible. Oftentimes they can solve it with a quick phone call. If it's a severe issue with your computer or with the program, they may ask for permission to take over your computer. There is no issue with that at all. You shouldn't have any problem at all with that. Um, let's just advance here. So now we're into what's called the course content, and I'm going to allow you to read through this yourself. I should mention here, this is a SIAS policy that 60% must be achieved. Now what we're looking at here is what's called learning outcomes. All SIAS training, Saskatchewan Polytechnic training is divided into learning outcomes, and within each learning outcome is called learning steps. So the first learning outcome is fractions and decimals. We'll just click onto that. Every learning outcome starts off with a learning step that is called an instruction sheet. So this particular instruction sheet is just giving you a quick run through on what a fraction is, some terms, as well as an explanation on how to go about um, calculating fractions. We primarily deal with, in this training, as well as carpentry, adding and subtracting fractions. We also need to understand how to do that with fractions, because the next step is converting them to decimals, which is actually just a fraction expressed differently. The reason for that is what we call steel tape measurements, or measurements on the printer on the job site, are always in feet, inches, and fractions of an inch. In order to calculate, we have to convert that to decimals, and then we can use the calculator for calculating. So here's an explanation on how to do that. Again, I'm going a little quickly here. You'll spend some time going through this to familiarize yourself with it. Learning step 3 is your review exercises. You see review exercise fractions and decimals in Word, or you can download it in Adobe PWF. The answer keys are also here. My recommendation is to open them up together. We'll just have a quick look at the review exercise. Takes a moment to open. Depending on how old your office is, your Word document may allow for a screen view like this. Just click on Enable Editing. That way, if you choose to do it in Word, you can just put your answer in here and then double check it against your answer key. You'll notice that there's 25 review exercises for this one. And we're not going to save. And then your answer key would be opened up in the same manner. Enable editing, and you can just do a quick comparison. Some of you with some more experience will know that you can do what's called a split screen, so that while you're doing your question, you can confirm the correct answer with your answer key. So that's it, learning outcome 1. We'll just pass on here to learning outcome 2, converting measurements. Now this is really an important area for you to try and understand, because as I said, the prints will all have feet, inches, and fractions of an inch, which are just totally fractions. What we have to do is understand what those fractions mean and how to convert them to a decimal so that we can do quantity takeoff. I'll mention also that you're not coming in to do estimating, you're coming in to do quantity survey. Quantity survey is an exact takeoff of every item that you requested of you to take off. Estimating is just so much a square foot kind of thing. Again, there's your review exercises and answer keys. We're just going to shortcut this back to the course content. We'll have there are the 7 learning outcomes. You'll notice volume's not involved here, as Federated Co-op estimators rarely ever use volume. So we just kind of took that out. I should mention though that board measure is also a measurement of volume, just expressed differently. When you've completed all 7 of your learning outcomes, you can click on the assessments and go directly to your quiz, which is your final exam. This can also be accessed under the content area. We'll just have a quick look at it. They'll give you the date and time. They'll give you your name, of course. I'll mention here the time allotted. You have unlimited attempts at this quiz. Each attempt is maxed out at 2 hours because that's the maximum. You'll notice here I've been in and out of here 14 times. What's going to happen here is our only goal with this is that you be comfortable with this basic math so that you can, excuse me, so that you can adapt those basic math formulas to quantity survey. So the unlimited attempts means you keep doing it until you get it right. I'll explain some more here in a second. We'll just start the quiz here. This comes up always because most of our online quizzes are timed, as this one is at 2 hours, but a lot of our apprenticeship stuff is timed at way shorter period of time. So this is an example of what your final exam will look like. It follows the learning outcomes totally. It has different focus areas, so sometimes there's more questions in one area than there are in another. You would just type in your answer, kind of follow the rule here. I need you to make sure you follow that rule. And then you would just finish all the questions, and I think there's 44 here. Just slide this up so you can see it. So you would just save all your responses, and we should get a warning coming up here. And go to submit quiz. Now here's the first warning. I didn't answer any of the questions. If you missed a question, you'll see it show up over here. It'll stay green, the rest of them will turn blue. We have a submit quiz here at the bottom. One more chance to go back. You would just click on here if you wanted to go back and check something. Yes, submit quiz. So there's where your answer would be, and there is the correct answer. If you added a space or something, it may show up as an X, but if you have the same answer as the answer key, then that X would be incorrect. What I'm going to tell you now is that you can do this as often as you want. I will not be marking any of these until you attend training, at which time your most recent attempt will be the mark that is recorded. I don't care how many times you practice. If you're cheating, that's just cheating yourself, of course. What's most important is you're most comfortable with this basic math. We don't want you to be concerned about, well, how do I convert this again? Because we want you to be starting day one of your introduction to quantity takeoff. Want you to day one to be started ready to do quantity takeoff. You have several quantity takeoff projects to do, and I've been told they're intense, but at the end of the week, you've learned a lot. We're just going to close this final exam up. And you'll notice now there's the percentage of users. This is all the chances I've had here. That will show up for you. And let's go back to content. So that's, as I said, this is just a quick overview. I would suggest that you take your time, read all the information prior to starting the actual course. Some of you will find this fairly easy and you'll be done in a quick period of time. Others that haven't been working with basic math for a number of years or been out of school for a number of years will want to spend a little more time on it. This course must be completed before you attend your in-class training. So you have lots of time to complete it. Again, if you have any questions, you have my email address or my phone number, as well as the help desk number. Looking forward to meeting you in the fall. Thanks.